Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Platitude Era. Today, we are going to be talking about Comic Con and all the exciting things that happened at Comic Con 2018. So, just off the top of my head, I think the top three news that came out of Comic Con, and let me know if you agree or if you want to alter my list, but I think number one would probably be the Shazam trailer, number two, Aquaman, and number three, that there was really no presence from Marvel Studios.
Yeah, I'm gonna say most of the big news that came out of Comic-Con is just trailers. I guess DC had a bigger presence. Marvel doesn't seem to care about Comic-Con that much unless they have a big event to show. I mean, like they could show Captain Marvel or whatever, but that's them. But yeah, I would say that the bigger news would be coming from the DC camp of those two trailers.
I feel like what you were mentioning about Marvel is that there might be two school of thoughts to it. One is Comic Con, where people go there and they want to hear announcements. So people are drawn to Comic Con as well as the studios are drawn to Comic Con. And the other thing is what Marvel has established. It's where people are drawn to Marvel now. Marvel isn't attracted or drawn to Comic Con anymore. Now people just follow Marvel.
Yeah, I feel like Marvel is more interested in, like, if they have a big event to do, like they would want to do something to announce it. Like if they went to Comic-Con this year, I guess they would show Captain Marvel, which I'm going to say people are pretty excited about. But I don't think it would be a big draw or big spectacle like worthy of event like to gather all those people. Whereas, because they're not showing Avengers 4 yet, so they wouldn't be there for that. It would be Captain Marvel, but like I said, it wouldn't be such an amazing like a spectacle for people to go and visit. It'd be nice, but whatever. But like if they have their own event, maybe they'll do an event. Maybe not. D23 you say is a possibility, or they could just spring up an event for whatever to say, oh, here's some announcements of Captain Marvel and here's Avengers 4 too. So like they could do their own thing and then say, hey, here's Captain Marvel and Avengers 4, and then we'll have more to share after Avengers 4 comes out about Phase 4 or whatever. But I don't know. Like for the same reason in the tech world where Apple stopped showing to the Macworld conference because they didn't really have anything to do with it, and they'd rather just have host their own events for their announcements. I'm guessing Marvel has now gone that route where we don't really need to be here. We don't need these people. We're self-sufficient. So how about we'll make our own announcements. We'll do our own events because our fan base is big enough, and they'll come to that.
And not only that, I'm sure that one of the reasons they also didn't want to appear at Comic-Con is that every time they're preparing some kind of announcement or a trailer or something, it always ends up leaking before Comic-Con, kind of ruining the surprise for everybody else.
Or if it gets leaked beforehand, even like oh, this is exclusive for Hall H members, but there's always going to be at least one or two rogue cell phones capturing footage, and then it gets put on some website, and then it'll spread through that means. So it doesn't seem that worthwhile to be at a venue that they don't have much control over.
Good point. So moving on, I think after the Marvel no-show at Comic-Con, the top thing trending would be the Shazam trailer.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like because there'd been nothing. I haven't been following it too closely, but there was not like, oh, here's a couple of production like set photos or whatever, but I don't think there was that much talk or hype about it. And then the trailer comes out, and I think as far as upcoming DC movies, I'm going to say people are probably most excited for Shazam.
Shazam looks like it's a lot of fun. I mean, you have the story in the trailer where it begins. It's a kid being bullied, and then he develops these powers, and it's pretty much in that spirit of comic books where these comic book fiction characters were played by adults, yet they embodied everything that kids stand for: justice, fairness.
Yeah, it looks like really lighthearted and small. It kind of almost looks like a kids movie, which I guess would be fine. It's like you said, it looks fun. It doesn't look like it's taking to itself too seriously. Kind of dovetailing into the other trailer like of Aquaman, which kind of looks like a big like huge like, oh, world building. Here's this huge other comic book movie, but I think people might be getting a little tired of that kind of formula for the comic book movie. I think they like a bit of a smaller scale for their movies, and like for a movie to take itself a little less seriously. And I think Shazam is going to scratch that itch for comic book fans. I think like Marvel fans would be fine with this instead of like, I think they're probably hating on Aquaman a little bit more because it just looks meh. And then Shazam looks like fun. I think it kind of reminds me of like Spider-Man or Deadpool, where it looks fun. It doesn't look too crazy, and it looks like it'll be appealing to more people.
And a lot of things did happen at Comic-Con, a lot of announcements, a lot of trailers, and pretty much our show is within a time limit, and we can't be here all day talking about everything. So we had to narrow it down to the top 3 things, and these were the things that we noticed most that were trending. I'm sure you don't agree with our list, but on the bright side, all those other things that you thought deserved a little more attention and us talking about, we will talk about in a separate video. So pretty much that item is going to get its own spotlight. But we do have to talk about Aquaman, how it was trending on YouTube, and it's gotten over millions and millions of views, and there has been people talking about it. Aquaman, this one looks kind of in the maybe pile. I mean, I trust the director, James Wan, because he's made some really good movies, you know, the Conjuring films and films related to the Conjuring. This one looks, you know, silly again, comic booky, but I don't know. What did you feel about it?
I mean, like visually, it looks interesting. They show like shots of Atlantis, and like, ooh, that looks interesting. But it kind of, I feel like this movie's treading too much familiar ground because I see the trailer like, ooh, Atlantis looks neat. Ooh, look at this future world. Wait, didn't I see a movie that looks almost just like this a few months ago? You have like a battle for the throne for this hyper advanced technological place. I feel like I just saw this movie. Oh, that's right. It was The Lion King.
And if you go on the YouTube video for it and you read the comments, every comment's going to mention Black Panther.
Yeah. Because, okay, so you watch the trailer. So when I noticed that in the trailer, sure, there's the Black Panther like similarities, but it's also like, because you're teasing 2 villains in this movie, which Black Panther kind of also did, because you watch the trailer, you're like, oh, his brother, and they're going to do a fight for the throne, and the brother wants to fight with the rest of the world. Sounds like a familiar plot. But then you also have the secondary villain, and in Black Panther, it was Ulysses Claw, and in this one, it's Black Manta, who, like, I don't know much about. I just know he has a cool-looking suit, and I think even if you're, like, a light, not even like a fan, if you're like somewhat aware of like comic books or Aquaman or whatever, you've probably like seen this this character that looks cool, but you have no idea what his name is. His name is Black Manta. He has a cool helmet. He has cool laser eyes. And I have a feeling like he's going to be underutilized. Like, you're kind of splitting your movie with like this cool villain that is kind of iconic looking and might be a fan favorite, I guess, for Aquaman fans if they exist. And then you have this kind of generic boring villain, and he's my stepbrother's uncle or whatever, and we're gonna have to fight for the throne. So you're gonna have this two villain dynamic, and I think it's the movie's probably gonna suffer from it because I don't think people care about the throne. They care about the cool looking bad guy. But maybe the writers couldn't think of a good we don't know what to do with this cool looking bad guy. Looks cool, but we couldn't think of a good story to like slap him and Aquaman in. So we have this boring generic battle for the throne fight, and then at the end, in the last 15 minutes, he'll fight Black Manta, and then people will be like, oh, Black Manta was cool. Sorry, we're not making an Aquaman sequel.
I don't have any more thoughts about Aquaman. The first time I saw the trailer, because it was trending on YouTube, it made me feel like I was watching a spin-off story of the Phantom Menace, where it takes place in Jar Jar Binks' underwater world.
Oh, the land of the Gungas.
Yes. I mean, I found it ridiculously, and I started laughing really hard, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional that they did in the movie, but it was just having all these sea creatures that they formed an army, and there was like a little battle. Reminded me of the Gungas versus the droids at the 3rd act of Phantom Menace.
So it's ripping off 2 movies. Yeah, well, because it's, I mean, I have an affinity for stupidity in movies as long as you go full stupid with it. Like, I don't have a problem with a fish army fighting a fish army as long as you lean real hard into it and like acknowledge that it's pretty stupid. Like, you can take it both ways. You can either be dead serious about it, but like kind of tongue in cheek, or you can just be like, wow, this is fucking stupid. Let's, we're riding on fish. Can you believe it? So I mean, as long as as long as you acknowledge the silliness of a fish fight for underwater monsters or whatever, then go for it. But it seems like it's gonna kind of take itself seriously and not the good kind of serious I want. And it's like, oh, we're like a serious, grounded, comic book movie that just happens to have underwater elements and fish monsters, and then one of the fish is gonna talk, or like, is gonna be Aquaman's best. There's gonna be like a shrimp that's gonna be Aquaman's best friend, and it's gonna have like sassy clicks, and then everyone's gonna love. He's gonna be the BB-8 of Aquaman, but he's gonna be a shrimp. People are gonna go nuts for him.
The one scene I am looking forward to, if you remember in the trailer, it's where Aquaman, he's a boy, he's living in the surface, he's on a class field trip to the aquarium, and he's being bullied. And then you see how the sharks and all the sea creatures in the tank are starting to stick up for him and defend him. I feel like James Wan's background in horror movie is going to play, and that's going to set up like a really cool scene that's going to be a throwback to his horror movie career.
It's possible, but I mean, that's kind of a stupid fight, because what are those fish going to do? Like, the only way those fish are going to win that fight is if the bullies go into the water. And I don't think that's going to happen. So they could just keep picking on baby Jason. It wouldn't make a difference.
I'm sure we knocked a little bit down Aquaman, and
everyone else is.
As everyone else is, but we're just going to have to wait and see until the movie comes out. We can't judge a whole movie based on, what was it, a 2-minute trailer?
It was like 3 minutes. Like, here's like a weird, like, these, like, I saw the Comic-Con trailers. Phone's going off. I saw the Comic-Con trailers, and they're all kind of lengthy. They're all like 2.5, 3 minutes. They're kind of long for trailers, and they seem like pretty, like, exposition. Like, they're kind of telling you more than a trailer normally does. Like, a trailer should just kind of tease you with little bits and pieces, but they're kind of like full out going with, here's the plot of the movie. Here's another problem with Aquaman is it's coming out in like 4 months, and we haven't seen any trailers for it, so I guess they have to. I don't know. It's kind of a weird predicament they're in.
I'm glad you brought that up. I actually thought the movie was going to be coming out next year.
No, it's coming out in 4 months. It's July now. It's coming out in December, and we're only finally getting a trailer for it.
Well, I think the best thing for Aquaman is that it has such low expectations, because when people come into a movie with low expectations and they watch the movie, they say it's better than they thought it was going to be, and that's always a plus.
Hey, just, what was it, 1 year, 2 years ago, the trailer for Wonder Woman came out, and people were like, this won't be any good. But, it surprised people. I mean, people would argue that it just kind of copied a lot of the Marvel formula, and this movie kind of seems like it's copying a Marvel formula. So it might be going through the same issue, but who's to say? This is only the first trailer. The movie's not out yet. We'll wait for Rotten Tomatoes to prove us all right that the movie was trash, and we'll find out. And we'll still watch it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Platitude Era. If there was anything you wanted us to talk about or discuss our thoughts on from Comic-Con, leave it in the comments. And signing off.
Gung Hei Fat Choi.
Bye-bye, everyone.